Laza, Matthew Laza, former Labour Party advisor, is not in cars, he's in a suit here.
I am. You shamed me when I came in shorts.
I'm not surprised. And Stevne Woolfe, former MEP, ran a little bit late, but he's arrived in a jacket as well.
Yeah,
that's
a
pink.
jazzy jacket.
I'm going
that
pink.
is.
Let us start, ladies.
Summer.
Ladies, let's start, gentlemen. What
Very
we
modern,
call it?
very modern.
Yes, there you go. Yes, you're both identifying as sheep. Big story about your man, Starmer, today. He's backed more working from home after Number 10 warned that a culture of, is it presenteeism?
Yes.
Is bad for productivity. Apparently, if you go to work, you clock watch and you don't want to work, so it's better to do it from home. I'm obviously quite outspoken on this, but I'm going to go with AJ, who says, Jez, my husband called a number yesterday connected with his hospital appointment, and the woman told him, I'm sorry, I can't help you for the next 58 minutes. I'm on my lunch hour and I'm working from home, and put the phone down. Matt,
not good.
No. Does working... I know the people will go, working from home is very good for the mental health. How is it helpful to sit at home, not surrounded by the office? It's about balance, right? The people are taking the mick.
It's about balance. So actually, that's all that the Keir spokesperson was saying, is that it's about balance. One of the new workers' rights that's going to come in is the ability to switch off, which has been tried in other countries.
What does that mean?
Well, it means you don't have to answer emails at 3 a.m. I mean, you know, the kind of battle to see who can send an email later.
I don't see many in the civil service working at 3 a.m.
Yes, not obviously in the example of the NHS. So, I mean, it's about balance. I think you're absolutely right. I think working from home all the time is dispiriting. I think it means that younger people don't get the ability to learn from colleagues. You don't, frankly, you know, we work in creative industry, you don't get the chance to knock ideas around. To have, you know, how do you have what used to be called a brainstorm has to be a mind map now because of you don't want to offend the epileptics.
What does it? What?
You know this, don't you?
No, help me out. What? Oh God, this is wound me up. Get this right. What did you just say?
So you have to call it a mind map now.
What, a brainstorming session? Yeah. Why can't you say a brainstorming session? Because
apparently it's offensive to epileptics. Although I ran a team with an epileptic in it, and he was perfectly happy with brainstorm. You know, but officially it has to be a mind map.
Honest to God, Steve.
Well, as someone who's had recently 2 brain tumours, I find mind map deeply offensive. Because
you've had 2 brain tumours?
Yeah, I've got them stuck in the head. One is a fibrous dysplasia across there, and one's a cavernoma. So they are live, but not kicking, thankfully, at the moment. So yeah, it's pretty good. But you know, I'm therefore forced for a period of time to work from home, and it's exactly that point. I found it dispiriting. I found it putting me in a malaise. I wasn't really interacting with people. I'm a people person. I need to be there.
Yeah.
And working with them. And as a lawyer, yes, you get huge amounts of work done in research, and I get that. And so that's the balance element.
I guess self-discipline's really important.
Well, you've got to have it. But I also worked in firms where people were working from home, and clearly their productivity was below the floor. That's the problem with it. They take the mickey. A huge amount of people
I think that's the point. Yes. We've got so much in this country where people are finding loopholes and taking... My favourite bit along the brainstorming is when people who... somebody in this building, I'm not going to mention them, said to me, Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Work it out. TWA.
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
absolutely.
Yes.
And
are you one of them?
Yes. Yeah. But don't get me wrong, I understand entirely what you've just said. I went to work and I didn't leave until I'd done my job. I didn't clock off at 5 o'clock.
No.
We didn't do that. I don't know, is that bad?
I think there's a danger. The public sector becomes to be seen as having an easy ride, and therefore people become, you know, more cynical about what they're paying for.
I think they already do think they're having an easy ride. I mean, clearly, if you've got the example of someone who's calling up and saying, I'm on lunch for the next 58 minutes, they're in the public service.
Yeah.
You don't get bin men being able to work from home. You don't get cleaners and cooks at schools being able to work from home. What you do find is a lot of the low-skilled and low-waged economy have to go into work. Yeah. They don't get that opportunity. It's, again, a class issue for me.
Yeah, I work from home. The Ipswich office in London, so I have a great hybrid role. My company provides all the kit I need from home, including a chair, and also checks your setup to make sure I'm comfortable. Scott in Ipswich, we had a really interesting call from a guy saying how bad, you know, how weird the whole thing now is about the office. We'll soon have people suing their companies because their work environment at home is not safe or has led them to feel isolated. I mean, honestly, what have we got?
Well, that is a good example, because if you haven't had your display screen equipment and your you know, your posture of your chair checked, you could actually sue.
This is really interesting. Lucy, working from home is far more productive for introverts. They find it so hard to work in open offices with non-stop noise. My productivity, Jez, has seriously increased by so much since working from home. We live in an extrovert world. Why not do something for the introverts? That's an interesting point.
No, it is an interesting point, but it's also a difficult point for when you've got managers trying to assess people if they've got certain qualities. It's not just about work. It's about whether you engage with clients. Are you a rainmaker, for example, in law? I remember when I first started as a barrister and then moved into solicitors' firms, big city firms around here, I wouldn't go home at night. Yeah. Because you'd have to. OK, that's not healthy, but it's part of being part of the culture to be able to show you that you can do the work under pressure, learn very quickly, and over a period of time, it gently works away slightly.
I don't know. I just don't... I worry about an environment where the desire to get on and make something disappears because you can just... but then people say, well, it's not all about being competitive. No, I get that, but there has to be the desire to be...
I think we need to change offices as well. The mania for the completely open plan office. You know, I remember being at the BBC and my boss got disciplined for leaving a stapler on his desk.
He got disciplined?
Yeah.
You might be surprised to hear, gentlemen, I've never worked at the BBC, neither do I think there is ever a chance of me working
You're right. I don't think I'm going back either, so...
But do you think... that's an interesting point as well. Do you think, like, the open office has changed as well for people? Maybe she has a really good point. Yeah. In the old days, people were... I don't know.
Yeah, I never liked the open offices. They were really difficult to work with. You always felt that someone's looking over your shoulder. Yeah. That moment in time when you're not working. And I remember watching a video about Chinese open offices where they're doing exactly that productivity. And they were monitoring by camera everyone at the open offices. Someone stopped working. Over the tannoy came... Whoever you were, why are you not working? And that's how I felt in open offices. Plus, you didn't get any privacy, couldn't make any personal calls. Never really a good idea, I felt, on the whole.
What do you make of working from home? 0344 499 1000. Energy bills to surge by 150 quid as Rachel Reeves prepares to scrap winter fuel payments. I'm not going to say anything other than what I feel about this. Do you believe... Somebody said something earlier. I'm still recoiling from this. Somebody said... This is a shrewd decision because the majority of pensioners or older people who this will affect will be dead at the next election. I'm being... That's what somebody said to me earlier.
That's a disgusting thing.
It is a disgusting thing, but I wonder whether there is some theory. I'm being completely straight. Why would you alienate 7 weeks into your government pensioners?
Well,
I mean, it's a good question.
I've got to hear it from Labour.
If you're looking at it cynically and politically, and you have to take tough decisions, the group that votes for you least is probably the group that you think you can get away with hitting. And at the moment, 63 is the age at which you become more likely to vote Tory than Labour. And so, you know, but I mean, that's not about people dying. That's just about people, older people voting Labour. Now, that is the cynical explanation. Absolutely, that is the cynical explanation. There is actually a policy explanation, which is because, thankfully, because of what you can it's because of what Gordon Brown did, introducing pensioners' credit, the increases in the state pension that came through, and the Tories maintained those, to be fair to them, plus things like the free bus pass, etc. So pensioner poverty has halved in the last 25 years. It is absolutely static, slightly increases, you know, varies a little bit amongst people of working age. So when you have to take tough decisions, fuel poverty hits pensioners less now than it does the main population.
It's cynical, it's cruel, it's heartless. And it won't just be those pensioners, it'd be people like myself. Not that I would have voted for the Labour Party anyway. But my mother is on the lowest level of pension she gets, on the state pension. She's just above enough not be able to claim the additional pension, and that fuel allowance was essential to her. It's me, my brother, my sister, my other brother. All of us are going to look at that and say, why are you attacking one of the poorest people in this country, which is my mother, and those who lived on the street?
That is a political danger for the government.
And that is absolutely it. I talk to people in Romsey.
See, that's why I have him on it, because he might... But it is a moral danger, because you're saying... We go back, we get into a big debate, but you're saying to people who have worked most of their lives and paid in most of their lives, we're going to screw you before we screw people who haven't done an nth of what you've done. And that's dangerous to me.
Not only that, the imagery that I'm going to give it to the rich doctors and take it away from the poor pensioners. I'm going to give it to richer people who are running our trains and being on our train rather than the pensioners.
Well, I'll tell you what, take a break. We'll talk about ASLEF, £81,000 a year for a 4-day week. After my journey home last night, I've changed my mind. No, I'm joking. Coming back in 3, don't go anywhere.